Then those in Judea must flee to the mountains, and those inside it must depart, and those in the fields must not enter into it, because these are days of vengeance, so that all the things that are written can be fulfilled. Woe to those who are pregnant, and to those who are nursing their babies in those days, for there will be great distress on the earth, and wrath against this people. And they will fall by the edge of the sword, and will be led away captive into all the nations. Or this, excuse me, that didn't have led away. I'm memorizing, I guess, the King James version. Okay, the exact reading is, and they will fall by the edge of the sword, and will be led captive into all the nations. And let's click on this note and see what that says. The same Greek word occurring 3 times in this verse can be translated nations or Gentiles, depending on the context. Okay, thanks for that note. And Jerusalem will be trampled down by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Praise the Most High. All right, I read that because that is a prophecy of Jesus Christ. So to all those of you who are watching this Ancestry video, I wanted to add that. Most of you probably call yourselves Christians or some religious faith. That's a prophecy by Jesus that shows the people of Judea falling by the edge of the sword and being led captive into all the nations. Okay, all the nations, meaning America as well. And Jerusalem will be trampled down by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. I think that's the right word there. Heathen probably would have even been a better interpretation. All right. Salutations to you, saints. It's your brother Yaram Yahawa. Also going by Remain True, Yaram Yah. All right, Yasharala. Praise the Most High. We're going to get back into my DNA. All right. Me. Who am I? According to the scientists who study and analyze genes. And they've done a pretty good job. So let's recap on my haplogroup EU290, which they say is as recent as 5,000 years ago. Your paternal haplogroup EU290 traces back to a man who lived approximately 5,000 years ago. All right, let's skip that madness, which is irrelevant. U290, they claim is relatively rare, relatively common among 23andMe customers. And the occurrence of this haplogroup is 1 in 226 of 23andMe customers. So I guess the key word here is relatively, because it's definitely not apparent that would be common if you only got 1 in 260. That don't seem very common to me. All right, 1 in 10 would be common. All right, okay, let's go. And they go 1 to 10, it was only 10%. So I wouldn't even call that common. But let's go. What I just read from Luke is a prophecy from Jesus Christ, and my migration pattern of my haplogroup is going to be admittedly caused by slavery and captivity, just like Jesus prophesied. Until the times of the Gentiles, we'd be led captive into all the nations. Once the Americas became nations, we were led here as well. So let's look at this portion of 23andMe's explaining my haplogroup's migration pattern. Men bearing haplogroup EM4254 were carried to the Bahamas in the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, so men bearing haplogroup EM4254. That's why they didn't just tell me that was my haplogroup. It's not my haplogroup because that's not the marker that identifies my haplogroup. Although the marker that does identify my haplogroup, which is EU290, this marker does bear that marker. However, you can have this marker without that marker, U290, okay? So let's not be too scientific right now. I just want to give a little breakdown explanation. So these are my brethren, okay? All men bearing this marker right here may not have my U290. However, since I told you U290 is the equivalent of E1B1A8, and that 8 is the modal haplotype, all right? Which means that everyone in your haplo group may not have your mutation, but you have everyone in your haplogroup's mutation. Okay? All right. It's just a matter of what's marked on what. All right. So that's why they call our mutation the EU290. They call that the haplotype amongst these so-called Bantu speaking people. All right. Your haplogroup is seen at moderate frequencies on the Bahamian islands of Abaco, Eleutheria, Azuma, Grand Bahama, and New Providence, and at low frequencies on the Bahamian Long Island. This is likely a reflection of historical movements of African and Creole slaves before and after the abolition of slavery in 1807. Over 25% of slaves transported to the Bahamas during the slave trade were from West and Central Africa, which is consistent with the most common